Jr.
And I'm Philip Sr.
And welcome to
Two Philips, Two Shopsmiths.
In this series, we will be woodworking. As you can see that we are in this shop. And I think my dad can explain the rest.
Alright, so we have 3 rules here in our shop. Rule number 1,
Be
safe. Rule number 2, have fun. Rule number 3, make something useful. So that's our goal as we journey through some woodworking projects and some other projects as well together in this show. So we hope you'll join us on our journey. So for our first project, we are going to build
a table for the CNC router.
And why would we want to do that, PJ?
Because we are making, drum roll please, a sign for our YouTube channel.
Right. So currently, the CNC desktop machine and the little computer that runs it are sitting on top of my electronics bench in my computer room and electronics room. Alright, so these machines make a lot of dust, and that's not good for electronics and computers, so we're going to design and build a cart to hold this little router, and then we'll also be able to push it around. So that's our project for this episode.
Okay, so now we are measuring the CNC router. So this is about 21 inches.
Is there anything on the back of it?
And this is about 2 inches, so we're probably gonna need
about 23 inches?
Yeah, it's 23 inches probably.
Alright, and how long is it the other way?
It is 15.
Now remember, there's something hanging off the back of that one too. So
15, yeah.
So 15, let's add a little bit and call it 16.
Okay.
And how tall is that? 14, but there's some stuff on the other side, so we'll say it's 16 tall. So now let's measure that little keyboard.
The keyboard is, I'd say about 8. Yeah, it's 8.
So we add an inch.
Yeah, because it's mainly 8.
And how about the other direction?
Like this?
How wide is it? 11, but we'll round that up to 12. Okay, what about that box that's below? That controller box, yes.
That is 11, but you might have to add an inch.
Okay, so 12 inches.
For the box.
Okay, and the other way, it is how wide? Looks like it's about 12, but we'll just add an inch.
Yeah.
And how tall is it?
Almost 5.
Almost 5?
4.5. Actually,
so we're going to say
exactly 5.
Okay, and we'll want to add an inch so that we have some clearance.
So now
if we build a shelf for it.
Now for the computer.
Yeah, so now for the computer.
So we're going to have it like this, like most computers are supposed to be.
Yes. Looks like it's about 15 tall.
Yeah, 15 tall.
So we'll round that up to 16. And how wide is it?
I'd say about like 16.
Okay, so we'll round that up to 17. And how wide is it the other way?
Almost 8.
The last part. Alright, let me do this one. 17 inches high, but we'll give it an extra inch by about 17 wide and 5 deep, but we'll round that up to 6.
Now we are ready to go design it.
Okay, now we're ready to talk about our design that we came up with. And I apologize, this is going to be a little messy. but we didn't want to make it super fancy, do it on the computer because that'd take a long time. So instead, we just kind of sketched it by hand. So here's our design. So basically we have a simple cart here. The top of the cart we're going to make first is going to be made out of 3 2x8s. So I have here the width as approximately 21 inches. In theory, it should be 21 3/4. It's okay if it's a little large. What I'm going to do for this project is I'm actually going to run these boards through a jointer and a planer and make it super smooth on top. Now, if you don't have a jointer or a planer, you don't really have to do this. It's just something I wanted to do mostly for practice on this project. I have 4x4s for legs. I want this cart to be about 34 inches tall, and I'll have 2-inch wheels, which gives me 32 inches from the bottom of the wood to the tabletop. Doing a little math, I'm going to have 2x4s along the sides. 2x4s are actually 1.5 by 3.5. So I have the 3.5 of the 2x4s, plus I have the 1.5 of the top, plus the 3.5 of the 2x4. That's 5 inches. And I want at least 7 inches of clearance for my controller shelf. I have to come down 7 inches plus 3.5. So 10.5 inches from the end will be the top of my top shelf. If you do some math here, you can see that we have 20 inches remaining of our 32, and that should be more than enough to put a shelf on the bottom for the computer, and that will be 2 inches up from the bottom. So the bottom shelf, the top of it, will be 4 inches up from the floor. And we're going to put the CNC router on the table, and then on the side we'll put the keyboard. And I have this little support structure that's going to be made out of 2x4s. And 2 reasons for that. One of them is that I need a place to put my monitor, and the other one is that my CNC router has the motor separate. So it has a cable running from the motor to the router head, and you need to hang that from something. So that's the approximate design for our table, and as we go later we might enhance this. We might throw in some extra drawers and things, but for now we just want to get the basic cart built.
Okay, now that we have our board of wood, we are going to cut it on the table saw.
And what's our number 1 rule, PJ?
Be safe.
Be safe. So make sure that you're following all of the manufacturer's recommendations, and be careful. And if you're working with your child, make sure that they're also being careful. So don't do anything stupid, and be safe. So what I've done here is I have one of these 2x8s, and I've just marked it for a 35-inch cut. I'm going to get 2 cuts out of this board. I could try to squeeze out 3 boards out of this one, but I'm a little concerned that I might need exactly 32 inches for my tabletop, and that would be almost 32 inches because of the saw curve. So I'm going to go ahead and make these cuts.
And that is, now we have our 3 boards.
Now that we've cut our 3 boards for our tabletop, I'm going to go ahead and run them through the jointer. After I've done that, I'm going to run them through the planer, get them nice and smooth on top. Some of these boards I got from a local big box store are a little bit rough, and we're going to try to make that a little bit better and see if we can make our top nice and smooth. Now again, if you don't have a planer and a jointer, you don't really have to do this. This is just something that I chose to do for this particular project. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and joint our boards. And this is pretty easy, if you have a jointer, that is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run one edge through the jointer a couple of times, get it nice and smooth. And then later, after we've planed the 2 faces, we're going to run this through the table saw and cut off the edge on the other side. And that way we'll have two nice parallel edges with which we can glue things up. Now, one thing I'm going to do, since I'm only running one side through at a time, is I'm going to go ahead and just put a little X on that side, and that tells me which side I ran through the joiner. Alright, so that one took a couple more passes than some of the others. It's a little bit rougher on that edge. But that's basically it. And now we're ready to hit them through the planer.
And hello! This is the end of our first episode. We hope you enjoy, and as always, please subscribe.
And remember our 3 rules.
Be safe, have fun, and make something useful.
Alright, so in our next episode, we'll continue working on this project, and we'll try to get our tabletop finished, and then go on and build the rest of our table from there. So we'll see you then.